Okay, looks like we are live. And sorry, guys, you're stuck with me again. Patrick got a little busy at work again today. He just every time he schedules a stream when he's working, they're just like, we got to stay late today. So, no Patrick, but hopefully he'll be back soon. He has to be because I'm going on vacation on Friday, so I'm not gonna be around. I'm not gonna be around to run streams for a little while. So if anybody doesn't like me, then you won't have to see me for too much longer. How does that sound? Just kidding. Anyways, we're here just for a very quick recap of yesterday's game. Manchester City hosted Bournemouth, and we beat them 3-1. Another great game from Erling Haaland, and I thought that was a Pep tactical masterclass. So, yeah, the game started. You know, we looked very lively, looked very exciting, and good, Carl joined me. So, all right, let me just add him. Hello, Carl. Welcome to the show. We just started.
Hello, Kelly. Good morning. Or good afternoon, actually. It's past noon for you, 12:48, I guess.
It is, yeah. I was just doing a quick intro saying, hey, we won the game. So now we got Coach Carl in the building, so he can help us. He can help us break down I thought that was a masterclass from Pep tactically. He completely neutralized all their biggest threats. Like we all knew coming into this game that Semenyo, very on form winger, and Mateus Nunes completely neutralized him. They didn't get a whole lot of chances to break, and I think Pep had a lot to do with that. Maybe you could break it down a little further for us.
Yeah, I mean, so get some water. I enjoyed the game. First couple of minutes, I thought, here we go again. But I thought overall, I think it's. I mean, what I saw, I think I shared in the chat this morning was there was a formation that somebody set out. He put 4-3-3, but really it's a 4-3-3, but it's not the 4-3-3 that we're used to, which is high and wide wingers, middle three, one of the fullbacks inverting, all that stuff that we've seen before. What we saw at Villa, I think what we saw today was a 4-3-3 as a baseline, but it was a more narrow one. What I mean by that, you saw Shirky and Doku inside next to Erling Haaland, Foden dropping a little deeper, combining with Nico and Bernardo central. And so you had this, this colossus of 6 or so in the middle, right? Think about the goal that Erling Haaland scored, the first goal he scores. Think of how tight they are, close they are centrally to the nice space for Bournemouth to play through. And because they're so good technically, they can find the 1-2 combination, right? Nico to Shirky over the top to Erling Haaland, he's through on goal, right? Yeah. So the width came from, I guess, the fullbacks, Nunes and what's his name?
Nico O'Reilly.
And you saw in the first half where we struggled a bit to adapt because they were too high and they were playing into those spaces that they vacate. But once they figured out when to drop, when to press, all of a sudden we were compact and we're good, right? We figured it out. But what was key to me was the fact that we were playing more in transition, and we played the tiki-taka where we had to assert control, but we were more in transition, defended really, really well in a narrow, tight block, without the fullbacks inverting, generally. Right?
Yeah, and I know you've been crying out for the fullbacks to overlap or underlap and not to invert. And so we finally got that yesterday, and we could see how dangerous it is. Particularly Nico O'Reilly, because there's a couple of chances in the first half where Nico O'Reilly, there's at least really one good one. I think it was a pass from Doku. He should have scored that goal.
Well, think about the old days. Yeah, the old days of Kyle Walker, right? That's what Kyle had to offer. He was athletic, he was strong, he was quick, he could bomb back and forth. But now we have Nico on the left-hand side playing this left back, high bombing left back, which is incredible. And then when he goes forward, he gets drops into that hole. Bernardo Silva drops into the hole to cover, right? Because Bernardo is more kind of central, right? Yeah. So you overload centrally, right? You can give up the wings a little bit, but you have the width from the fullbacks going up and down. But you have Shirky with Foden, with Gonzalez central, with Haaland central. That's 4 or 5 central, which is why Bournemouth struggled. That's why they struggled.
I thought Bernardo in particular, I'm going to give him his flowers because I've been crapping on that guy for a very long time. But yesterday, man, he just kept like giving his spot up to players who would do more going forward, and he would just sit back and kind of do their job defensively for him. Like you saw him go all the way back. He was playing with the center backs at times. He was helping progressing the ball forward. When Nunes bombed up, he'd kind of go backwards a little bit. And I think that just was needed. So that because that didn't give them any, he was
Right.
he was occupying the space so that they couldn't like try to transition into it. And he was
Yeah.
all over the pitch, man. Like he was just everywhere, right side, left side, forward, backwards. Like he just really worked his butt off. And I think he deserves his flowers. I think you just needed him in that lineup. And I grumbled when I saw it. I think I probably
Yeah.
put it in the chat too. I was like, what's this guy doing in here? But
For me,
now I see why, and it worked.
well, we've talked about this many, many times, right? We said if Bernardo's going to play, right, his best position is that Modric's position, right? As Modric aged, he dropped deeper and deeper and deeper, became this regista who's able to kind of play in the back three or the back four, or be that fourth overload person who carries the ball forward, that pass, who's the first point of squeeze to disrupt the attack from playing through. He's perfect. When you play him on the wing, you saw him running with the ball on the left-hand side. We were counter-attacking, and he couldn't keep up. He checked it back.
He just
Saw that,
stopped. Right? Oh God, I lost my mind during he just literally just stopped. That point you're talking about. He just literally like he could have kept going. He had space in front of him. He decided to just stop. And that annoyed the crap out of me.
Well, because the instructions were clearly for him to, be a little deeper to control and let the likes of Nico and Haaland and Cherki and Foden be the ones who are in that final third. And it worked. That's his role, in my opinion. Right. And the weird thing is that in our lineup, we did, I think, on Friday or whatever it was, we had different players in those positions. But we kind of, our philosophy was overload central without inverting the fullbacks. So keep those wingers narrow inside without overloading inverting the fullbacks. So you have the protection of the three. So you have more numbers in the middle, and then play them in transition. That's what we talked about. And we saw different players, but the philosophy remains the same, right? It was great.
Yeah, I also want to talk about that midfield, particularly Cherki and Foden. But I'm not going to ignore Doku in this. But the three of them were just flowing so nicely together. And I think this is the first time we've really, maybe we did in the Club World Cup, I don't recall, but the flow between the three of them and the chemistry that Foden and Cherki seem to have found, it's still very early. Like they've barely played together. I think they're like what 500 or 600 minutes played together with, but they look like they've been playing together for years. And that's just really exciting because, like, we've kind of seen like a double 10 situation or like a double 8 with, De Bruyne and David Silva. And I'm not trying to expect those two. I'm not saying like I expect them to become those two players, but it's kind of like the same setup in a sense, like Phil Foden kind of being more of the David Silva role, just as a role. I'm not saying he's David Silva, like he's the 8. He's he's starting to create the chances. Him and Nico G in particular, we're doing a really good job of that. They're getting they're the two getting the ball to Cherki and then letting Cherki do the magic, which is like what we used to do with Fernandinho, David Silva to Kevin De Bruyne to make the magic happen to Sergio Aguero. So I kind of got shades of that yesterday, and Doku was definitely contributing to it too. He was, dribbling past people, and he also had a few really good passes like that as well. So it's just really exciting to see. Like, Ryan Cherki is bringing a lot to the side, and just only a second start for the club.
I'm not afraid to say the likes of Foden will become like David Silva. I think in our chat I mentioned even Xavi, right? That's what I mentioned, Xavi Hernandez, right? I'm not afraid to say that. Right, because you go back to when Foden started and everybody was crying for him to play central. What did Pep say? He's not ready. He's not ready. He doesn't have what they call the pausa to play central. Well, guess what he's doing right now? He's playing more central.
I think he's dominating too. Like he's learning how to control the tempo too. He's getting the ball to Ryan Cherki, and that's what he needs to do, man. Right. In America, we call it the hockey assist, which is where you get the assist before the assist. So he definitely did that. He had one really good one yesterday.
Yeah, the fact that he's playing central now tells you the manager now has faith in him to play central, right? In the Pep team, right? The likes of Xavi and Iniesta and co. So it's happening right now, but you see him more of that Xavi role, that 8 role, right? Where Iniesta is more of the kind of final third, number 10 role behind. It used to be Messi, of course. Of course, Haaland's not Messi, but think about Cherki in that regard, right? That's the kind of combinations that we're looking at. So yeah, I enjoyed the game. Once they got into rhythm and it clicked in terms of what they were trying to do, and they killed both in transition. It was just, we killed
them. That's usually their game plan. We turned it around on them because both of those Haaland goals were in transition, and you can see how happy Haaland is too. He loves to run, and I have to give major credit to Nico G, man. Yesterday was the first time where I really thought I was like, he looked like Rodri out there yesterday. And I'm never going to give him that kind of pressure to be Rodri, but he really did have a Rodri type game yesterday. Like
Yeah,
the way he was dancing in and out of danger, he was dribbling his way out of danger. He had that little chip shot to Turkey for the for one of the goals. I think it was the second one where he chipped it
well,
over to I think it was the first one where he chipped it to Turkey, you headed it to Holland, and
yeah.
scored the goal. Like that was like really,
Well,
I was
well,
like, dude, Rodri did that. Like this is cool.
well, there are
Fun
two
to
things.
watch.
So I watched some of the highlight. I watched the game, but I also watched some of the highlights of Gonzalez. And that ball to Cherky was meant for Holland, right? The ball to Cherky that he gives for that first goal was meant for Holland. It wasn't meant for Cherky. What I mean by that is the eventual destination was Erling. But to get to Erling, he couldn't get to Holland directly, right? Because we were marking him. He was going to go through Cherky, who was open and could flick the ball in because he has the skill to do so into space to Holland. So that's kind of,
and what a header from Turkey too. And then
ahead.
Holland had to control it with his head.
But
That's great from him too, because he's not really known for that kind of stuff. So
but what was even
fun
better,
to watch.
if you watch the highlights of Gonzalez, it was the fact that I talked to Danielle about this, right? He was always there, right? Not to move too much, always there. The bounce pass, the second pass, the second to third pass, the one who kind of through invites pressure and lays the ball off into space. He was the one who was doing that Rodri role so well. And I've said this from day one. I've said that practice won't get you there. He has to play.
Yeah, and he's taking advantage. Yeah, I mean, obviously we want Rodri to be healthy, but this is the first time I think I can say in the last 4 or 5 years that I don't feel like we're going to lose the game if we don't have Rodri in the game. Like we finally have somebody I have some confidence in, and who's really taking to the instructions too. Because it's one thing to get the lessons from Pep, but if you don't show it on the pitch, then you've just wasted, everybody's wasted their time. But you can tell he's really like learning and picking things up, and his positioning is getting better. Like every game, I feel like he's getting a little bit better. Like, the first few games on this run, he was kind of he was just sticking to his position as a 6. He wasn't really, involved in the link up play. And that's where we probably had some, he wasn't getting the ball forward as much, because I think he was just focusing on getting that defensive positioning down. And now you can see him starting to add some of the going forward. Some of the through balls are getting better. A couple of long balls here and there. Like they're getting better. And so he's become like, because one thing I'm very consistent about this about Rodri is that he's a world-class 6, but he's also a world-class 8 at the same time. The way that he can get the ball forward, the long balls, the through balls, the diagonals, the passes, like that's what makes him such a special player. And like, I never expected Nico Gonzalez to like start doing that. And the fact that he kind of is a little bit is just beyond impressive, because he's also starting to get the defensive part. And it's not perfect. He lost the ball a few times, whatever. I don't care.
For me, I always did from the day we got it. I always did though. He's a La Masia product. He's a La Masia product. He's a La Masia central midfielder product. It's going to come. They don't make mistakes. Hardly make mistakes. There are a few here and there that they're just different quality. So the more he plays, the better it's going to be. The more he plays, the better it's going to be. So
yeah, and he's getting his chance. And I'm at the point now. I'm like, you got to play him with Rodri, because obviously Rodri, when he comes back, he's probably going to struggle for his fitness, like his match fitness, because like you say, you get better by playing. And I know he's training, but he's just gonna, it's gonna take him time to get to a rhythm. But I really think we need to play Nico Gonzalez next to him. Like first off, I think our final form is going to be the two of them in a pivot, just because that's a wall, that's a defensive wall.
Who drops? Somebody has to drop.
I don't know. That's probably Bernardo.
Yeah,
because I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a theory. There's a point that someone made to me over the summer, kind of. Remember how we were all crying during the Club World Cup when we had Bernardo Silva playing as like a second striker? And so I was crying about that to somebody who I'm learning a lot of tactical stuff from. And he's like, yeah, Pep does that. He puts Bernardo, when he's testing a new like role, he tests it with Bernardo. And so I'm kind of wondering if yesterday was the test. Was that the test? Bernardo and Nico G. Is that the test for Nico G and Rodri? Like the tester out or see if it works?
I don't know. I mean, we know Bernardo can play that deep position really well. He knows how to play it really well. And maybe that's why Nico was so good. Right?
It could be. I think I want to see him and Rodri next to each other, man. Because I've always loved, remember when we were flirting with Bruno Guimaraes, and one of the talking points was, well, if they're the 6-8 combo, the two of them next to each other, one can go forward, one can stay back. And I feel like you can do have Nico G now too, because Nico G is an 8. So he could probably find his eight role, and then they can pick and choose so that the defenders won't know who to mark, and it'll confuse them. And then they do it enough times, they'll form a chemistry and they'll know exactly when to do it. But I think Rodri has the ability to kind of coax that along a lot quicker. And I also just think, well, Rodri's finding his match fitness. You'd want a Nico G next to him to kind of, because Nico G is proving to do the work so well. You kind of want him there as backup in case Rodri is, struggling, because he probably will. It's going to take him some time to get his match fitness back. And he's had a couple of injury setbacks. So that just keeps delaying and delaying and delaying, like when we're going to see prime Rodri. And I know ACL injuries, it can take up to a year or something like that to kind of feel like yourself again. So, and during that time, we've had a lot of setbacks. And so I just feel comfortable if we had like a little bit of a cushion next to him, like Nico G could be like, oh, Rodri, you missed that because you're, still recovering. I can go do that for you, that kind of thing. So I would love to see it, but I don't know. I also just think Nico G's been too good to bench. Like, he's done so well, and that would just be so great. That would just be crushing to see him just get, jettisoned away.
I don't think
it might happen. It might happen. Remember how Kava and Rodri played together as a pivot, and that helped Rodri kind of at the end of that season when we burnt him out. Why can't we do it with Nico G, a better player than Kava right now?
Yeah, I think he'll find solutions to the situation. I think he'll find the solution. Let's see what we do against Liverpool. Let's see what we do against Dortmund. Let's see what happens. If this guy continues on,
Sunderland just equalized. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's a Premier League game on right now, and
I see
Sunderland just equalized.
Yeah, I see it. It's we'll see what happens.
This person, I can't say his name. He says Nico G Rodri pivot with Turkey and Foden on the pitch as it maximizes the team. Do you think that could be the case?
Nico G.
What if we went back to the trouble and you had the box midfield and it was Rodri, Nico G, and then Foden and Turkey up front doing all? Because if they do all let them run riot in front of the defensive wall.
See, the key to yesterday was the fact that you didn't have to invert the fullbacks. They kicked in the space that they attack. You had that central overload with players in the middle who are technical, who can play in transition. Right? If you're going to play the 3-2-5, you invert one of the fullbacks, you're going to go back to the same problem we've had last season.
Which is an own goal. Oh, that's
right?
bad. You get Everton own goal.
You get killed in. You're going to get killed in transition. So, for me, I think
if you have a defensive wall, like if you have Nico G and Rodri in the middle there, kind of. I think, and then you have obviously you probably have one of the fullbacks running up at a time, because that's what's nice about Nunes and Nico Riley. They can pick and choose when to go forward, and then somebody always kind of covers back for them. Whether that's like, whether that was Bernardo Silva or Nico G also went back a few times too to collect the ball for part of the buildup too as well. And I think there's so many possibilities. Like it's just really fun to think about. Like, because Bernardo Silva, like he was great yesterday, but we do have to think about this is his last season, and we do have to kind of find ways to do. We have to find ways to play without him, because he's not going to be here next season to like bail us out. You know what I mean? So why not try to find opportunity? Maybe Liverpool is not the game for it. I admit that, but you got to find some games to kind of start testing stuff out for like life post Bernardo Silva, just because he's not going to be here next season. So you gotta get other players ready to do that kind of a role. And I don't know who that player is going to be. I don't know if they're even on the squad yet. You never know.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. I don't think that it'll be a problem. I think we'll be fine. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was good yesterday, man. And Mateus Nunes, man, he had a wonderful game. Like he just completely pocketed Semenyo, who's one of the most informed players in the Premier League right now. Had 6 goals, which is like tied for second most goals, and he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing in the game, and that's credit to Mateus Nunes. I've doubted him quite a bit. I don't rate the guy that highly, but I thought he had a really good game, and I think everybody did. Even Donnarumma made a few saves. He had that Bozo mistake. There's a lot of debate out there if that was a foul or not. Even Pep Guardiola went all in saying it was a foul.
It was a foul. Yeah, it was a foul. You can't get that.
It wasn't okay.
You can't hold somebody's hands as a goalkeeper and then they score a goal and you just a foul. That's a foul.
The only time that would have been called a foul is if a Manchester City player did it.
That's an Anfield. That's a foul, 100%.
That was at the end. And remember Akanji, they said that he fouled Allison. Yeah, right. I don't. Yeah. What do you mean? Stop glazing Foden. Get out of here.
That's a foul.
Oh,
No, he's
Mateus
not
says
up.
he's
He's doing
jumping
his
on in
doing his
5
job.
minutes. You better hurry up, Mateus, because I'm not going to have the stream on going for very long. Unless you want to take it over, because I have to go to work. I have to work in like 20 minutes. So I can't stay on for too long. But nah,
That's
just
right.
a really fun game, man. Just really enjoyable to watch. Like, I think that was probably our most complete game of the season because, you know, we've kind of had this half of a game itis where we just play well for 45 minutes. I do think our press kind of slowed down a little bit in the second half. Like to start the second half, it definitely looked, you know, Turkey looked a little bit more labored, and a couple other players did as well.
Yeah, I think
But
no,
then we
I don't.
brought the
I don't
subs on, and
I don't think.
then we just went right back to what we were doing, and it was great.
Yeah, or maybe they were on instruction, right, to just play 1,000-meter passes. Maybe he's still caught in those 2 nights. Maybe he's caught in those
Oh,
2 nights.
dude, that's a question for you, Carl. Then are 1,000,000,000 passes okay when we're protecting a lead, not chasing a game, but do you accept us doing that if we're trying to protect the lead, and that's the best way to do it?
I've always said that if it's 0-0, you're not in control. You're being controlled. If you're playing against a mid to low block and it's 0-0, you're being controlled. You're not under control. You're not in control. The moment you go up a goal, now you're in control. Because now the narrative has changed. They have to be more aggressive and come to the ball. Now you can keep the ball away from them. But if it's 0-0 and they're playing a low block, they're controlling you. So if it's 2-1 and you keep the ball 1,000-meter passes, good. As long as they don't shoot and score, cool. You take your opportunities.
All right, somebody was calling me out. Sorry, someone in the chat was calling me out. I'll let you finish. Sorry, go ahead. I keep butting in. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't worry about the chat too much. Don't worry about that. There'll always be people calling you out. That's the way it is. Shut their own channel.
No, they're calling us out saying stop glazing the pre-assist from Foden. Well, you know what? Foden did get an actual assist in the game. A lovely pass to Nico O'Reilly. But I thought this was one of Foden's better games in a long time, like all the last season too. Like he looked so comfortable in that role. I think he and Cherky are gonna just be I think we need to play the two of them together as often as we can because they just seem to get each other. Maybe it's because they're both techie ballers. When you watch them in warm-ups, man, they're just having a tech off the way that they're just doing their flicks and their tricks and all these little tiki-taka stuff. And you can tell they're just having so much fun. And when they do it to each other, man, some of the passes to each other, like it just clicked with the two of them like immediately. And so I'm hoping we see a lot of that in the future, like the two of them together. And if Foden's role is to just give the ball to Cherky and let Cherky do the magic, I think we're in really good hands but I think Foden's doing a really good job of getting the ball forward. You know, I think this deeper role suits him more. You know, he's not under because he's not a super creative player. You know, he's not giving out a whole lot of assists. He's creating chances, but I think he creates them better further back. And then he facilitates it for going forward. And we love how he kind of links, you know, the play from the 6 to the 10.
Well, that's kind of what we, you know, when you talked about Foden being like, not saying is, being like, you know, David Silva, right? Linking the play, setting the tempo, knitting the passes together. That's what he was doing well. And you're right. In that regard, he is playing like David Silva, not is David Silva, but like that says, not the same level.
Like the David Silva role in a sense.
Right.
Just not the role that he's playing.
Right. Not the same level as David Silva, obviously, because that's a generational player, but he's playing that role in this team when nobody else can. And that's all you can ask for, right? So more power to him.
I think he's gonna thrive in that role too. I really do. I think the 8 role suits him very well. That's when he played in the academy, and I've loved what I've seen out of him. And even in that season, when he won Player of the Season, he was a slightly further back because remember Julian Alvarez was the one kind of pushing a little closer to Holland, and he was slightly further back. And Alvarez was kind of lining up as a 10, even though his first touch was awful. But the three that, you know, like Holland, Alvarez, and Foden, that was a nice chemistry, and that performed very well. So maybe we're just going to see the next iteration of that with Holland, Foden, and now Ryan Cherky. I don't know if Cherky, obviously, I don't think he'll ever be the goal threat that Alvarez was, but I think he's very creative. And so I love watching the guy. He's so fun. He's so fun.
Yeah. He's a different kind of player. He's a different kind of player. He's effective. Gosh, he's effective. I mean, just 2 assists to Holland in less than 60 minutes. That we've been asking for that, right? You know,
Mateus, are you there?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I don't know why my camera's not working.
Okay.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
did you go to the game yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, you can give us your boots on the ground wrap up or review.
It was pretty much the same as it is every week, isn't it? Not really much. I think there just was a little bit panic. I don't know why my camera's not working. 1 minute. What's going on in here?
If you need to leave and come back, I can always add you back in.
No. Answer. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. 1 minute.
Yeah, Mateus is having some problems with his camera, but he's gonna try again. Okay. Problem is City fans feel the need to grade Foden on a curve. He was truly world class. He would need the handicap. We're talking horse races. What are we doing here? Foden close to being world class. He's on the path. Foden's had a couple of world class seasons, but I'm personally not ready to call him a world class player yet. Just because for me, I think he needs consistency. I think Mateus' camera is
it's
dead.
still the same. It's not working. I don't know why.
He's a broken camera. I will let you know. I have to go in about 10 minutes. So but I'm happy if you want to keep going. You're welcome to. But I'll let you have I'll let you give us your thoughts.
It was pretty much the same, to be honest. There was just a bit of panic in the first 5 to 10 minutes, especially when they scored pretty early. But obviously it was offside. But yeah. I think the performance was all right in the second half. First half was good. Second half, I just feel like got that feeling. Yeah, do you know? I feel like after 60, 65 minutes, the whole team just get a bit tired. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there could be a fitness issue behind that. Like I thought, particularly after halftime, I thought Turkey looked like he slowed down quite a bit. But that's understandable. He's missed 2 months.
Yeah.
No, well, because that was the instruction, right? Instruction was the 1,000 million passes, keep the ball, and because you have a game on Wednesday, that's what happened. You don't come out of halftime and you drop your level significantly like that, unless you're being instructed to keep the ball. It's just
we didn't have much possession yesterday. I don't think. I think we were quite comfortable and give the ball away, give the ball to Bournemouth and just hit them in transition, which is something that fits the profile of the players that we have. Because as I said it before, I don't think we've got possession-based footballers. We got transitional footballers. If you look at the players that we have, players like Halim Marmoush, they don't like to have the ball all the time. They just
I would even say Mateus Nunes the same way, Kovacic same way.
They like to run
and
into
Savinho,
space.
They're the same way. Yeah, they're all
they like to
players.
run into space, or if you're a midfielder, just put the ball in behind. They'll go and have a battle with the defenders. You know what I mean? And if you look at the difference yesterday, he didn't ask O'Reilly or Nunes to invert. He just that's your flank. You just bomb it up and down, and they look great. We've done that against Juventus as well, and I don't know why we don't do that quite often. It feels like he said it in the press conference that we're gonna have different style of play for different team, which is kind of okay. But when you keep changing all the time, it confuses the player as well. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like if you've got players like Nunes and O'Reilly who can put this and cross in the box, just utilize them. Stop asking them to invert. But yeah, man, I think the first half was good. Second half, we were just knocking the ball about really. And I feel like I feel like we were just a bit too much for Brentford at times. They didn't have any answer. He looked like a very complete different Brentford side to the one we've seen this season. And I think there was a quite good performance, like Nunes, as you guys mentioned, Nico Gonzalez, or both Nicos, to be fair. And we were quite happy to see Nico Riley get the first goal. I think he was well deserved for him. Cherky, I think this is his second start.
Yeah,
in the
he
Premier
started the
League.
Spurs game.
Yeah. He started the Spurs game. That he looked quality. I can't lie, he looked quality. I think he looks like someone who he knows that he's got a striker and that he needs to utilize that striker. Do you know what I mean? Like if you see like we've seen with a lot of players in that team, yeah, whenever they have the ball, they hold on to the ball too much. With Cherky, just get me the ball. He sees Haaland make the run, bang, the ball is through. Do you know what I mean? And it's something that we've seen from Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, as soon as his striker's making the run, he's not giving a billion touches and give it sideways. He's just putting that ball through. Whether Haaland's gonna get there is a different conversation. But at least what you're telling is your striker, I'm gonna try to find you. Do you know what I mean? And but yeah,
We missed that all last season too. Like Holland was just feeding on scrap. No one could get him the ball. And it was hard to
I
watch.
think Ruben Diaz was quite good.
Yeah,
there was something that was I haven't seen from Ruben Diaz in a while, was winning the headers during corners. He was heading the ball out quite a lot. The goal from Bournemouth, I haven't watched the highlight. I didn't see it because it's usually first half is on the other end. So I barely saw that. So yeah, I think it was just good performance overall. And obviously, we have to keep the momentum going. We have to start winning games. We cannot afford to drop any more points. With the way Arsenal is playing, it's going to be a quite interesting month in November because there's some tricky games coming. For all of everyone really. I think everyone start playing everyone. There'll be. I think we're playing. I think we're playing Chelsea soon. We play Liverpool. Then we've got Newcastle away.
Yeah, Newcastle after the break.
Yeah,
And then we
Arsenal
have, I think we have Leeds after that too. And we have Sunderland. That's going to be a tricky game.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's at Sunderland too.
It's not going to be a tricky game, Kelly. It's not going to be a tricky game.
No, I don't think Sunderland it will be. I think
for me,
Sunderland,
if this team, if he puts this team out with the players that he knows he has and play to their strengths, ain't nobody. It's not happening.
There's nobody. Yeah.
Every game that we've lost this season, whether it's Tottenham or Villa, is because he's played players in weird positions. Bob and Savino against Villa. Seriously, come on, bro. You play the team you played this yesterday against Villa. We win that game clean. At least we get a point.
I think if Nico Gonzalez starts that game, we probably at least get a draw out of that game.
We're not blaming him.
That was frustrating that he couldn't. If as long as he keeps John Stones out of the team, I'm sorry. You need to keep Vardiol and Diaz together.
Yeah, but even with John Stones, don't ask him to invert like he did in treble season. He's 3 years older. He's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
He looks like he's had a lot of hamstring injuries too.
He's got to be center back. Let him be a center back. Just play these guys in their best position. Let them go kill it. Game has changed. The game has changed. Now it's about 2 touches, bang, goal.
Yeah. You don't need to go. See, the problem is I feel like he just. It's at times this season. When he comes out and say extra passes, like. That was well and good when you had David Silva and whatnot, but these are different players. You kind of have to. You've asked for this different type of players to the ones you had, so your game needs to change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yesterday it did. And we've all been crying out for it too.
You've asked for a goalkeeper like Donnarumma. Donnarumma is not gonna under pressure. Donnarumma is not gonna like make that passes like Ederson. He's just gonna hoof to the striker, which is something that we want to see, because how many times we've seen this team throughout the years trying to play pretty at the edge of our own box and just give the ball away to the opposition. And it happened against Spurs, didn't they? With their Trafford and Nico Gonzalez.
Oh yeah,
so
that was
under pressure. Just keep it simple. That's something that Nunes does really well. Nunes doesn't overdo it anymore. If you see even if he mentioned, if he say, right, I'm going to consider corner, I'd rather just consider corner than just trying to play pretty. Then when he's a corner, get the team organized. Yeah, you've got your leaders at the back, you've got your captains, get everyone organized and defend the corner, rather than right, let me nutmeg someone and give the ball away your own box and the opposition scores. Do you know what I mean? Just keep the risks low, especially on your own box, and you've got fast players up front and try to utilize them. And we've seen how we can get Czech into this team. Now, the next task is to get Marmoush into this
Yeah.
team.
Get Marmoush
Because
into the team.
he's a
That'll
player that
take
scores
the pressure
goals.
off of Holland.
Yeah, because I'm not
Score.
accepting it that our second best goal scorer is getting less minutes than our worst attacking goal scorer. It's not acceptable in any football club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really need to
He
focus
need-
on getting Marmoush
He
back up to
needs
speed
to
because
get
he's going to help
back
us a
into
lot.
full fitness, and he needs to get into this team. Same works with the Kusanov. Kusanov, you can't keep Kusanov in his house just because you fancy Rico Lewis to stay on the bench. Kusanov
That made
he
no
should be
sense.
ahead of Rico Lewis because Rico Lewis is not good enough to play for this football club. But
Yeah,
because
I didn't understand why it was Lewis, Stones, and Ake and not Husanov. But
Yeah,
what I don't
exactly.
get is why he said tactically, because I was like, tactically,
Right.
Husanov makes the most sense out of those three
Be-
because he's actually a pacey defender who could go chase Semenyo down if he needed to. Just say he was not fit because like he didn't look super fit on Wednesday, and like I would have understood that.
Yeah,
Like
because
just say
between
he's not fit.
Nathan Ake, don't get me wrong, between Nathan Ake, John Stones, and Kusanov, who is most likely to stay next season?
Husanov.
Exactly. So why is he not being picked up? Why is
I
he not
don't get
making the
that,
squad?
and I felt bad for Oscar Bob too.
If
'cause
John
again,
Stones is going, as if his contract is running out in the summer, if he's not getting an extension, he's going, then he shouldn't be in the squad ahead of Kusanov. I'm not saying get him out of the squad, but if it's a choice between him and Kusanov, and you know Kusanov is the future of this football club, same as Chaikin and like O'Reilly and whatnot, they need to be part. They need to be part of the squad. It's just simple as that. So
I
listen,
agree. And the
we've got.
longer
I
you
think
keep
we've
these
got
players
Dortmund.
around, Pep will play them. That's the problem. You have to. Viana has to put his foot down and get rid of them. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
can't move on as a club.
Yeah, I think there's not much complaint from yesterday. I think we done all right. We done our job. We got the 3 points. He looked solid. He was just. I don't. Bournemouth didn't really look like scoring, did they?
No,
I know
and
they.
I think they
I
got
know where
lucky on that corner too.
I know where Donnarumma had the save in the second half from a shot from outside the box. But apart from that,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
remember them doing anything else. But all right, guys, I got to wrap this up because I have to start work in a few minutes. So, any final thoughts?
Who are we playing next? Is it Dortmund at home?
Dortmund on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm gonna do. We'll do a watch along, and then I'm also gonna do a little hate along tomorrow. So if anybody wants to join for that, because there's Liverpool and Real Madrid, and then Bayern Munich and PSG. So I'm gonna do a little hate along tomorrow on the second channel. So everybody, I'm also doing a match preview for the Dortmund game tomorrow. So everybody check that out. I'll send links and everything.
Wait. Is Dortmund game on Wednesday or is it tomorrow?
It is, yeah.
Is it Wednesday? Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
even know.
it's Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah, see
Is
what
that
happens.
the Etihad? Are you going? Or do you not do the cup games?
No, I do. I'm not sure yet. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, if you go,
Because
I hope you have a good time.
no, because this time of the year, you kind of have to pick and choose, especially because Champions League, I have to pay for Champions League games.
Yeah, it's separate from the season ticket.
My season ticket doesn't include cups. It's not under the cup scheme.
Not on the cup scheme. Yeah, that's weird that they do the two of those.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
All right,
I really have to go because I got to log on. Or one more thing.
No, take care. See ya.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm doing a match preview. I think it's at 6 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be real quick. It won't be a long one. But anyways, guys, City won the game. Great. It was really fun to watch. Thank you guys for Carl and Mateus for hopping on. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.